we can continue as talking about the for our conditions in order to practice the Dharma. And the page 83, first paragraph is saying, although he has taught, had his doctrine died out, it would not longer be there to help us. But the period during which the doctrine will remain extended has not yet ended. So we have the advantages of the time and the period times, which is the Buddha's teachings, still remain there. And this is the kind of showing or the demonstration of the impermanent. And everything is each phenomena. First is appear, and then while remain, but then finally any kind of showing to impermanent. Therefore, one is like impermanent to disappear until the other ones come back is quite usual. This is way. And once we are born, we are living, and once we died, and to reborn again is to take a little bit times. And any kind of the harvest seeds, when we put in the ground, they grow up and they green, and we have very good habit, but after we put into the ground to grow again, it's quite take times. Therefore, this kind of coming and going in the relative truth, and some there are different periods, and sometimes Buddhist terminologies like intermediate, between, or we can to say it's like the periods of the between. And therefore, first Buddhas came teaching, and also Buddha, when he born, remain how many years, and then it's the end, showing the impermanent, and also his teachings same how long. And then this the how long, for example, our Buddhas is like teachings, the durations 5,000, and after then they disappeared, next Buddhas, until the next Buddhas appear. And therefore, now is the good duration. Therefore, we talk about great time, advantages of time. Although the teachings still exist, unless we follow them, they can be of no benefit to us. Unless if we do not follow the Buddha's teaching of the doctrines, the Dharma, and there still Buddhas appear, and even the Buddhas during the alive, his teaching is fresh, everything's, but if who's or the beings not follow, not to enter into his path or steps, then there's not much benefit. This is the truth. But for us, quite very positive or the advantages. But since we have taken up the authentic Dharma, then we have possessed the advantage of our own good fortunes, And also we can to like a kind of have a good process here. And whatever we do, sometimes we need tools in order to success what we are doing. We need good conditions. And even in our life, if we want to do something important, maybe we need a good partner, good family, good companion, good societies. When we have had or the got to be together, maybe we can to do something, or we do or we did together, it was successful. So. And of course, once it succeeds, then maybe we don't need a companion all the time. And then it's like also we can to manage like something like this. And through the Dharma, we want to be the enlightenment and to realize that our nature of the mind through the Dharma. And while we need to rely on Dharma, and finally we realize that our own true nature of realities, then we don't need Dharma. And Buddha's teachings, we succeeded, this tool we used, this process, and first are given by the Buddha, and we accept this process in order to do some benefit for our and the others. And we use this process in order to some doing good things through this tool, technical and special like kind of the methods or the like tools of the Dharma. And that is very fortunate, because this condition, these advantages, we can to realize that our true nature of the realities, we can become the enlightenment. We become the same as the level of the Buddha. Once we to be in the Buddha, then why we need to carry still the teaching of the Buddhas? Then we can to teach to others our own authentic Dharma, to the other sentient beings, how to be enlightenment, or that to have fully permanent happiness. Like this. Therefore, here's the process. It's a very important position, or like kind of the, like a parents give you some such like kind of the potion, or the some is like a heritage, and then children is to use what potions gave to the parent by the parents, and maybe money, maybe house, maybe such, and according that the children's life is wonderful, maybe it's make the such life is easy, and like this. And afterward, children's own self to manage to become powerful, and then we can to appreciate what to give, possess by the parents. Like this, very important to concerning the possess and the belongings. And beginning there says the Dharma is no owners. Whoever take really to pick up in your own individual, then this person is the owner of the Dharma. And whoever interest, whoever want to take the real serious on ourselves, we can. And therefore this process is quite great. This condition, these belongings give to us great result, happiness. There's we're talking about advantages of our own good fortune. Although we have taken up the Dharma without favorable circumstances of the being accepted by a spiritual friend, we would never come to know what the Dharma is the real about. This is the truth. And even we say it's very much interest. It is a truth in our, sometimes the Westerns. Someone's really very much enthusiastic, want to study Buddha's teaching and this authentic teaching, but there is no the qualified teacher or the great teachers. And this like kind of, there's no existence the favorable circumstances of the spiritual friend who can to be accepted for us, and how we can to find great Dharma teacher who can to give explanation to us. And that is also very difficult. Once we find, we like kind of the discovered, then it is the very important to follow the correctly, and also being accepted by the spiritual friends. And then it's like we can to slowly to study, we can to get the meaning of the Dharma, really about the Dharma. And in this situation, in this fortunate, we never to make the, get rid or to make the cast away. It is very important to be glad and very important to follow up correctly, unmistakenly, and to obey our own individual spiritual friends. If we find correct, qualified teachers. But of course, there are kind of the name of the teachers a lot. That is, we are not lack of the problem. But lack of the problem is the real qualifier and qualities, fully maturated, fully realize the compassions, and fully understand someone's the authentic teaching of the Buddhas. And this spatial architecture and spatial like Dharma bidders, and this kind of skillful architecture or the Dharma bidders, and how they can to make the map Dharma in our place of the mind, how they can to build the authentic Dharma bed in our house, the students. If someone is like a skillful spiritual friends, compassionate, wise, scholar, fully have transmission, fully realizations. And if we met and accepted us as the student, that is the great advantages. Spiritual friend has accepted us, we possess the advantage of the extraordinary companions. And it's like companion, it's like kind of the best family, best like a colleague. And we can to say, so we can work with spiritual friend, go into the enlightenment. We can work with spiritual friend to do some benefit for us. It is the best our companion, because and these companions give to us love and wisdoms, It is not the kind of the through the desire attachment, not through the kind of the clingings, not through the like kind of selfishly, not through the manipulatively. And this peerless, good quality, good qualifier spiritual friends, they accepted, they become our companions, only concerning benefit for us. And these companions, day and night, concerning our education of the Dharma. If our education of the Dharma getting better and better, and to maturate it, and then this spiritual friend, companion, compassionate, to be very happy, and it's like kind of most happiest joy, and like this. And we can also through the practice in Dharma, through the listen to Dharma, through the contemplating Dharma, we can make great pleased to this companion of the spiritual friends. And that is the most pleased maker of our peerless teacher. Otherwise, we kind of give our body to give the position, but we never study Dharma. We never kind of changing our process. And the teachers give as much as Dharma educations. There's nothing changing process. Just the kind of offering the body belongings is nothing enough. Then finally, it is maybe negative result. And therefore, and the teachers and students' connections is student need to study, to practice Dharma, to have realizations. And also students to most precious to make the pleased to the teachers, should to study the Dharma, to realize it, to changing process. Then it's for big giftness to the spiritual friend. Therefore, we are relying on the spiritual friend. And because these five, the factors need to be completed with regard to circumstance, other than one's own, they are called the five circumstantial advantages. And also, like a counter of the disadvantages, and according the condition of the others, like kind of the seed when we put into the ground, and all the other advantages of the fertilizers, like earth, water, manure, heat, and in order to grow up the seed itself. And if seed, it has great advantages of the ground, manure, heat, everything. And then seed has great circumstantial advantages, then it's to grow very well. Like this, in our own individual potential seed of the Buddha nature, now it is the time to maturate or to grow up, to really to making the manifestation. And our own true nature of the mind is, and it is a kind of the big notice, and like kind of the, it's how do you say, it's difficult to, how do you say, it's used it. And if we used not very well, it is become the source of all the sufferings. And if we used very well, this one is, and the source of all the happiness. And therefore, this true nature of the realities, it is our own quality, it is our own potential, our own nature. But it is very important to how we can to use. And this is our own possess, our own belonging. But if we do not use it very well, and then through this, a lot of problems occurring. And therefore now we need to use it very well in order to get rid of the sufferings, in order to get the such happiness. We need to use our own potential of the Buddha nature, and through this nature, and we're using the tool of the Dharma and special technical master of the spiritual friends, and how we can to making the manifestation of our own Buddha nature. Once it manifested our own Buddha nature, and there's nothing kind of the adventitious, then Buddha natures produced such kaya, wisdom, and we call the enlightened body, enlightened activity, enlightened qualities. Forever we can to make happiness. And therefore we call the good circumstances. The time is taken for the universal to form, to stay in existence, to be destroyed, and to remain in a state of the emptiness is called the kalpas. And it's now is a little bit to explanation more the meaning of the kalpa, and also it is the how it is our universal to first arrive, how many years like kind of the remain, and then it's like the end, how it destroyed, disappearance. And also kalpa is an eon in which are the perfect Buddha appear in the world. This is called the bright kalpa, or the bright duration, the bright eons. While one in which a Buddha does not appear, it is called dark kalpa and blank like periods, and very much is like a kind of the thick, dense, and also is like a kind of the unhappy durations, and we call the dark eons. Long ago, and during the great kalpa of the manifest joy, we call the, it's like this eons, durations, is called the manifest joy, happy times. And 33,000 Buddhas appeared. And during this joy, manifest of the joy, because of the like 33,000 Buddhas appear as teachings. And then 100 dark couples followed after. And once is like fed away that this 32,000 Buddhas appear, and the Buddha themselves and the teaching, everything has disappeared. And afterward, there are the dark karma. There is no kind of the Buddha and the teachings, no existence. There's durations, 100 eons, this kind of happened. And then during the perfect karma, excellent the eons, 800 million Buddhas appeared and teaching, and how many beings be enlightenment. Again followed by 100 kalpas without Dharma. Afterward, and there is the 100 million Buddhas disappeared, teaching is disappeared, and then also certainly it's become the dark kalpas, and there's no name of the Dharma. Maybe how it is this kind of happens, we can to look the like example of the Egypt, in Europe, many there's, but there is like, we can to say this is not related, but 40 million years ago there was something. But this system, whatever the science, 36 millions, 2 millions, 4 million years ago, there was something. This is just roughly machines calculated. There's something, but we don't know. Like this kind of, between there is, of course, millions Buddhas appear, teachings there. Then after some years disappeared, and then there is no name of the Buddha's teaching, no name of there's Dharma. Like this. Then in the 840 million Buddha appeared during the excellent Kalpasir, extreme, extraordinary Kalpasir. After the which there were 500 dark eons, and there's nothing kind of name of the Buddha and Dharmas, these durations. And the duration of the Kalpa, delightful to seize. And then it's like and 800 million Buddhas appeared. And then there were 700 kalpas of the darkness. And when we are thinking about this, even when we listen to the science, they found some, like a kind of the Buddhist animal, or it's like fish. They say this, 47 millions. Wow, how is the millions? Trillions, and like this kind of talkings, and 100 millions, like 10 millions, 1 million, 100,000 ago. Then is our life is very short, very small. And also when we are reading this kind of the eons, count of the times, and then we see that our like surface appeared 1,000, like 1,000 petaled lotus. And this is like how it's aroused our own this universe. There's like kind of the one water drops, and in this water drop, the naturally occurring one lily flower, the 1,000 petal lotus. The God of the Brahma's word is a form Ralamas. I think is in the Brahma Ralamas there is four, like first Brahma Ralam, second, third, fourth. But it's like most is like the first, the Brahmas, they see this, then the youngest, like they ask, wondering how this is could be like this. Nice flowers appears, and the thorough clairvoyance understood is to the signifies that during this kalpa 1,000 Buddha would appear. In this is like kind of during these durations. This will be a good kalpa, they said, and good because of the name. And then like according that, then they called good, and we called good kalpa. And some is whoever living in the dhyana state from Ralamas, they have like kind of the meditation result. They have some clairvoyance. They can to tell the futures like prophets, and therefore they are telling. And then it's in our like kind of in our universal, in our like this, from the time when beings life spent as 8,000 years, and the Buddha destroyer of the samsara appeared, and like our life and these styles, 8,000 years, wonderful, 8,000. And during 8,000 is quite really many years. This kind of, now if we are talking about, is unbelievable. How it is, a little bit kind of the opposite. Scientific, like kind of the evolutions, and the first mammals coming from out the sea, it is very like animals. Then slowly become monkeys. Then the monkeys is slowly chimpanzee and the human existence. That is like I have very much contradicted, okay, sorry to say that. But when we are like at the beginning, element is like coming each moment, they are creating. Our primordial ooze, primordial our mushroom, primordial our body, this is the obvious heat and cold. And it comes from maybe seeds, we can't say, but in the sea, sometimes heat and cold, there is, you can to say, the primary ooze. Ooze means it's like a small, tiny, it's like mushrooms. And these mushrooms to accept the consciousness. And then they are become the different animals, different bodies, because of the code in the habitual tendencies. And before in our universal to appear in this, of course there are such beings in the space that don't know worried, and this consciousness they are traveling millions. There's no worried. But in this world, how it is come to like say, for example, in this empty water, to keep this water, if we can to keep like this, and there's nobody cannot enter inside. And just do you keep like this, maybe slowly, the rotten and heat caught, some certainly insect is coming, naturally occurring. Because it's hot heat, there's some mushrooms is coming, these mushrooms is become. Once is like elements, they create a mushroom, and then is this become the animal or the beings. That has itself has qualities. Maybe, for example, beginning ourselves, probably we have a longer mouth, but human qualities. Maybe we are using 4 legs, but human qualities. And it's the cell, the DNA. Inside there is the human's qualities. And it's like, for example, now, these days, chimpanzee, there are similarity. We are like same tree. It's, you come to say it, but never they are become the human existence. Billions, millions, if you put to try to chimpanzees become the humans, never. Why? What happened? Which kind of problems? Ancient chimpanzees become the human existence. Now this chimpanzee cannot become the human beings. Which kind of problems actually to say it? But from my perspective is really to, once you have this, it's called, how do you say, doesn't matter shape. Maybe it's like a beginning we have a horn, maybe we have tail, maybe we are hairy, maybe we have a fang. It doesn't matter, but you have a human DNA, human qualities. It is like, then is a different food, different temperatures, different, that is to body is to change its shape. That is the belief. It's like, how to say, inside there's one qualities. That is the human qualities. Once is elements to created, like this. For example, now in the sea, there's 100%. We never ever saw the other creatures, and because our life is very short, and in this case, few years, it's take time, but 100% different form animals come. Why? Because it's like our form, our shape, our appearances, and our this kind of birth, old age, sickness, death, and different like kind of color, different nose, ear, mouth, and like a form, like a 2 leg, 4 leg, and a 6 leg, millions leg, and all this is nobody's arranged, nobody's created. It's naturally, it comes from our thoughts, it comes from our habitual tendencies, and naturally occurring. And once our body is occur, there is the changing process, but human is a human. We have a big evolution is after that we died. You know, we changing process. After that we died, there's 100% next our body. We all the time difficult to say get again the human Buddhism. This evolution difficult to accept, and when someone says, oh, beginning human beings has were longer nose, oh, sure, this is no doubt. Sometimes this can happen. And we can to, in these days, like for example, we can to say some in the Asia, some is our West, to mix it, and they are very different color, different shape, different, and like this something new is coming, but it's a human being. There's nothing can do. But like this is like a temperature, food, and mix it, and then is they are different shape, the color, but human is as human. It is difficult to say that maybe we can just stop 5 minutes. I don't accept the evolutions. Maybe some science they are angry, but sorry.